So I'm from South Florida and I'm currently a sophomore. It is my second year here. I'm studying mechanical engineering with a minor in business administration. I had joined SHPE in the fall of my freshman year, and definitely one of the better decisions I've made in my life for sure. And during that time, I've been involved with leadership, the events, and the marketing committee. I've also done a couple of projects here as well. And it's a little fun fact, one of my favorite hobbies is scuba diving. So let me tell you guys why I'm running. So I decided to run for the position of secretary because I really enjoyed my time this year as the events director. And there was nothing more rewarding to me than giving back to the organization and seeing the results of that work through you guys. And I'm just not ready to give that up yet. So that is why I've decided to run for the position of secretary. Yeah, sorry. So that's why I decided to run for the position of secretary, kind of to keep that ball rolling. So yeah, just kind of like I mentioned before, I give you guys that same experience that Chef gave me when I had first joined the club. So I want to help our members, I want to see you guys grow professionally. I want to see you guys succeed. You know, Chef has really helped me grow in like numerous ways that I will always be thankful for. And that is an experience I kind of want to give back to you guys, through that role as secretary, just because I feel I still have a lot more to contribute to this club. So I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about like my experience. So right now, like I mentioned before, I've been involved in SHEP for a while. I did leadership, both the committees, a couple of projects, but this year I'm currently the events director. And so basically I'm kind of in charge of, planning the weekly socials, camping trip, Ships giving, galas, events like that. And now, given that I've been on the board, it gives me the unique position where I can say I've worked with most of these candidates before directly. So really, no matter who ends up getting elected for whatever position, I've already worked with them directly. We have that dynamic built, and this is ultimately going to help us ensure that we can deliver the best product to you guys, and just give you the best experience for next year. So again, like I said, I've been in SHIP for a while, so I've also been blessed with the chance to experience it both in person and virtually, which I believe is going to be a big part and to help ensure that smooth transition back to that in-person experience when we go back to the fall. So yeah, basically, so with all these things together, being working on the board this year, having worked directly with all the candidates before, and having been a part of SHEP while it was in person and being on the board virtually, I believe that I have the knowledge and the experience and kind of like the know-how to be the right person to do this job. So let me tell you about a couple of my plans I have, for next year, given if I was elected secretary. So again, the main goal for next year, mostly the fall, is going to be that smooth transition from the virtual setting back to that in-person experience. So we just want to bring back the best experience. We want to come back better than ever, bring back those memories that we all know and love. And for those new members who haven't had that experience yet, we want to make sure that we provide the best experience possible for you guys, so that way you guys can really see what SHEP is all about when things are back in person. So another thing I kind of wanted to accomplish was fulfill all the goals and ideas that I had originally to do this year. However, COVID and things being virtual, that just couldn't be seen out. For example, I want to host or do, work with the other board members and put together more in-person inter-club events. So those would be socials, workshops, I guess info sessions, anything, even competitions, right? So like the cup pong tournament I did earlier in the fall, maybe I'd like to see something like that be brought back, but in person with other clubs, and kind of, I guess, get all the clubs working together a little bit more. Also, another thing outside of my duties as secretary, I'm also want to be there to assist my fellow board members. So I don't know if any of you guys on this call are planning to run for the board when those applications open up, but outside of my position, I just kind of want to be there for the board members, helping them do whatever odd tasks that they may need, whether it's helping them plan events, it can be reaching out to companies, or even just filling out paperwork. I want to be there and help you guys to the best of my ability. So that's it for me. If I have to leave you all with one thing, thank you guys for everything. Don't forget to vote Alex Diener for secretary. Thank you guys. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask.
Beautiful. Good job. Are there any questions from the audience?
Yes, I have a quick question for Alex. So, would you mind going back to your goals and ideas slide?
Yeah, once I figure that out.
It's okay. If
All right,
you
here we
don't
go.
figure it out. Okay, there we go. So your goals as a secretary are to create more socials, workshops, and events.
Mhm.
And you had mentioned that you would like to see a cup pong tournament again. Sorry, almost used the wrong word.
Well, it doesn't have
Would
to be that specifically, but oh, I'm
Mhm.
sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Continue.
No, it's okay. So would you being a secretary result in you communicating with the new events director in order to achieve these goals?
Yeah, so kind of I guess outside the roles of secretary, things like the newsletter, notes during the meetings and whatnot. I also want to be there to, just help out the other members. So obviously all this stuff isn't directly relevant to secretary to an extent. However, working with the board, working with the e-board, these are some things, even though I guess it's not within my job description, I want to help and I want to see like come to fruition. So obviously this is a discussion I
Oh,
would have to have with events director, projects director, stuff like that. But, I just kind of want to see these goals come to life.
okay, that clarifies a lot. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry about that. Thank you. Anybody else? Any other questions?
I'll ask, what do you think is going to be your hardest challenge going into this role, and why do you think you're going to be best fit for it?
Hmm. So I think I mentioned it a little bit earlier on, but I think the biggest challenge that we're going to face initially for sure is definitely going to be that transition from the virtual environment back to that in-person experience. So and I guess that kind of goes for like the whole board, the whole organization in general. But I guess me as secretary, again, like I said before, I served on the board this year. I have been around while SHEP was in person. So I feel like, kind of like knowing how it was before and, having lived through this virtual experience now, that I have the knowledge and I guess this experience working with most of the other candidates as well, where I guess we can help do the smoothest transition back from the virtual environment to in person. So kind of getting the GBMs up and running again, figure out how to market. I guess figuring out how to market that. Hey, listen, guys, we're back in person now. Kind of bring back that following that all of the organizations here at UCF and I guess everywhere kind of lost now that as things went to virtual environment. So yeah, I think definitely the toughest challenge is going to be trying to regain that traction we had before coronavirus had hit.
So I have a question. So it could be said that the secretary can kind of be like a bridge between the e-board and the board of directors. So
Mhm.
being it that you've served as board of directors now, what do you think is like your strong suit as being part of board of directors that could help you in your bridging over to e-board if you were to become secretary?
Yeah, so definitely being on the board this year has definitely helped. I guess in that sense, being with the board and kind of working with like the other board directors directly, you kind of know like the wants and needs that the board needs from the e-board. Whether it's funding through the treasurer, needs help booking a room through the internal VP, or just kind of like little things where we need the e-board's help, for certain events or anything like that. So definitely, serving as the events director now. I guess next year, if I do become elected secretary, being that bridge, it definitely makes it a lot easier to communicate to the e-board, the needs of the board and vice versa. And it's definitely, I guess it'll help. It helps give me a better understanding of, what the board needs, how they operate, how to reach out to the people individually, and guess how to relay that information to the e-board and vice versa.
All right. So thank you, Alex, for your presentation and your answers. We are going to be moving on to our next candidate for secretary. Any other questions for Alex, please make sure to hold on to them or send them via DM to him directly. But go ahead and stop sharing your screen. And Nick, the floor is yours.
All right. Hello, everybody. Can you see everything in full screen? Yeah. Okay. All right. So, hola familia. Kyo, what's up? I'm Nick Libreros, your current Chef Tube director, and I'm running to be your next chef secretary. Yeah, if you have any questions, make sure to ask. And if you come up with any after we're done, my Slack DMs are always open for you guys. All right, so let's start with who I am. Oops, there we go. Yo soy colombiano, a strong advocate for Colombian empanadas. But on top of that, I also love Back to the Future and music. I've participated in a ton of UCF ensembles like marching nights my freshman year. And I'm also an aerospace engineering sophomore. But I think you all know me as the ShepTube guy who's always bugging you to subscribe. And speaking of which, go subscribe, like all our videos, create fake accounts, buy bots for the channel, do everything you got to do to make the channel pop in. I want to give you all a little bit of insight of what I've done as ShepTube director. Right here, we've got a little, data, because I know engineers love data. We actually had an 800% growth on the channel this year, and we're the Shep chapter with the largest YouTube channel ever. So I'm really excited about that. At the beginning of the year, Tony, the external vice president, and I came up with the idea for the channel for the purpose of reaching members while we adapt to this virtual setting. And it was great. We created content, and the channel used to have videos up, but no real content for the people. So that's what we focused on. And, I think we achieved our goal. We've got great growth, and I'm really happy about how far we've come. But let me take a step back from ShepTube and talk about why I love Shep. ¿Cuál es la esencia de Shep? Coming into college, I kind of had the idea that engineers would be very one man for themselves or standoffish type people. But Shep changed that thought immediately. Once I heard of Shep through that freshman engineering class, I joined mentorship and leadership and truly saw that people I don't know try their hardest to help me, even though I didn't have much to offer professionally. In mentorship, I was paired with El Gran Kevin Dewey, who's on this call. He helped me make my first resume, prepare me for my first interview, and develop a lot of my skills. And in leadership, I was able to join a lot of like-minded freshmen with the purpose of working together and bettering our engineering skills. Shep truly made me feel like I was home when I joined La Familia. And with the skills I learned through my freshman year, I applied to the board and actually didn't get any position. It was a tough time for a little bit, but I got some feedback from the current e-board. I lifted my head and I worked hard anyway. And that's when Tony came to me about leading ShepTube. I was super surprised that as a member with, no professional experience, no leadership title, and only a year of college under my belt, I was given the opportunity to lead a project. And through that project, I developed professional and personal skills, and most importantly, got even more exposure to great people that I was able to work with on the board. And, looking back at how I was when I came into college, it truly is a dream come true that I was able to get my first ever internship lined up for this summer with Northrop. Considering the fact that college, I didn't even know that college engineers got internships. So it was just a huge deal to me, and it all happened because of Shep. And, now I'm running for an e-board position. I just feel like I've grown so much and I want to help other people grow. And, that's why I'm running for secretary. I want to give back to the familia in the way that I've gotten, because I've invited, plenty of freshmen to join, but they find it very hard to, kind of get involved, especially in this virtual setting. So I want to be able for more people to have the experience I had. One of the strengths I think I have is that I'm super organized. I started using Google Calendar this year, and I have, tons of notes from all of my classes. They're perfect notes, pristine notes. You can test me on them. And as ShepTube director, I kept notes of all of the meetings, and I have all of the drafts, and I have to be super organized with the with the committees, the directors, the editors. And yeah, I just think that organization is one of my very strong suits. And as secretary, a lot of the times you're the person that's sent to execute ideas. And to do that, I feel I have to have initiative, to bring ideas as well. And that's one of my favorite parts about being secretary. I have a few, ideas that I have for the upcoming year. One of them being to open up a Hispanic center for all of us to be able to join, to drink your coffee in the middle of the day, and we can name it La Casota. UF already has a La Casita, but we're gonna one up them. We're gonna have La Casota. And I'm not saying we're gonna have a mansion or a huge spot or a big office space, but I'm just saying that we will be able to sort of have a spot, and it's gonna be called La Casota because we have a big heart. We're gonna bring our big heart, our big, connection with family, familia. We're gonna bring Latino vibes to this place. It's gonna give us great office space, great spot for GBMs, for meetings, and we'll be able to work with the Office of Diversity and Inclusion to get this done and to also host meetings in here.
So
Yeah,
unfortunately,
did I run out?
yeah, we are out of time.
Okay, great, no problem.
So any questions for Nick?
Yes, I have 2 questions.
Yes.
The first one being, what would be the first step to building La Casota?
The first step would really be, in any plan, I think you've got to research immediately. I've looked a lot into what UFs is like, and it's a great space for all Hispanic people to join. And through research, I'll be able to find out, do I go directly to Office of Diversity and Inclusion? Do I find new, do I go to someone else? Or with the team and the e-board, we'll all be, together to find solutions and, to research and find a way to do it.
Awesome. The second question I had is, if you could change one thing about SHPTube and your leadership behind it, what would it be? What would have it been?
Yeah, for sure. SHPTube was a huge learning experience for me. First semester, we went in with an entirely different idea than we had the second. One of the things I would have changed was the first semester, I had a schedule where everyone would have to, post on every other Monday or every other Tuesday. And I think that wasn't really conducive to creativity. You can't force people to post, to create. I then ended up shifting it to becoming sort of any content that anyone would like to create. I offered up to a lot of the board if they would like to post videos. I posted that podcast because I really wanted to see something like that up. And opening it up to more people and to more ideas, I think was a great way to shift from being, very, you have to create at this time by then. And it ended up being more free-flowing and more of our original idea.
Okay, cool. So just to confirm, instead of it being a scheduled video release, it ended up turning into something of, let's say the development team has something to post. They have the ability to post it.
Exactly, yep.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
I think I'm gonna ask a question really quick. I think you have less than a minute, so be fast with your answer. You mentioned about ideas bringing to the table and everything, and you just mentioned one initiative. What was other initiative that you had in mind?
Yeah, I ran out of time, but a lot of ideas I'd love to bring would be, for example, a SHPE survey that's open all year. And it would be a way for you guys to be able to give us your ideas for what you want to see, or for what you like or what you don't like, or if you got an internship, and if you didn't, why. It would just be a great way to bring, hard data to the table. And the other idea I wanted to talk about was a project fair where we bring a lot of industries in to, for these projects. For example, there's that roller coaster building, or there's that roller coaster in the engineering building. And, that was sent by Disney for us to make. And we had the Boeing bottle rocket competition, which was a lot more simple, but it was sent by Boeing to do. So I wanted to find a really great sweet spot right in between for us to be able to do something in a company's name.
All right, so that is time. Nick?
Sorry, Carlos. I just had a really quick question. You mentioned an 800% growth in followers. What was that actual number?
It went from 12 to 108 subscribers.
Okay, thanks.
All right, so that is time. Any other questions, please hold on to them and ask them to Nick either directly through DM or wait till the end of the event. Nick, great job. That concludes the section for secretaries. We now move on to treasurers. So Kevin, I believe you are next.
All right, thank you. And 1 second, let me share my screen real quick. All right, hello everybody, thank you for coming out. My name is Kevin Abreau, and I am from South Florida as well. And I'll be running for the position of treasurer. I'm a computer engineer, third year, and I have been involved with SHAP since my freshman year. And I'll be telling you now why I'm running for treasurer. So I'm running for this position because SHAP means a lot to me personally and professionally. They have built me from the ground up, really. Once I started leadership my freshman year, they had given me a lot of tools and resources to accomplish a lot and reach out to companies and get the positions that I've been had and held for the past 3 years, which is something that I always be grateful for. And I'm also very passionate about this club and love to see our members grow and using all these resources that we make available for them. And so I want to be a part of this cycle of contributing to our members and our community. One more thing that I love about SHEP is I have made many friends along the years, and I would like to continue making this chapter familiar and implementing that family concept that we always try to emphasize through our events, through marketing, and all the things and tools that we provide for everybody. So some of my experience, I've been, like I said before, I've been in this club for a very long time. I was here since things were physical. I was here last year when things were virtual as well. So I kind of have an idea of how to run things and how things run. And I've been involved with several committees with leadership, tech, marketing. And this past year, I held a position of events coordinator alongside Alex, which I think gives me an edge on how events run. And I think it relates to this position because for some events, we do need to allocate a budget, and I want to be able to have a perfect budget for all the events to run, for projects to be implemented, and for all the things that we might have to implement once we're in person, as opposed to this year where things were more virtual. I have also a lot of experience working with the clubs and organizations. One of the ideas that I want to implement this year before we knew everything was virtual was doing more inter-club, more collaboration with other clubs, and so we can, I guess, bring more members to the table, expand the idea of familia. We're not just SHEP, but other clubs, other Hispanic clubs, and any other STEM position club, really. Since we all really have to collaborate in the field at some point in time. So some of the plan of actions that I have for this next year. As a treasurer, I really want to get discounts for all the members to go to a national conference as well as GMIS, which is a great mining STEM. This is a conference that's really huge for us. It gave me a lot of opportunities this year, and I want to keep giving the same opportunities to new members and the members that keep coming back. And since conference might be in person, I have some ideas to how we can save some money for transportation by collaborating with other clubs that might want to also participate in this conference. I want to work with external VP also to keep our sponsors and have a good network of companies that can help us lower the cost for GVM food, industry barbecue, and maybe possible for conference as well. And within the school also, we have to work with the Office of Diversity and Inclusion and SGA for funding and other organizations such as NIHACs. And I believe that I have a good relationship with them as I have been a NAGME scholar for the past 2 years. And I have worked with SGA before when I was part of the NIHACs team for the in-person hackathon that we had 2 years ago. And communities also. As a treasurer, I believe that we have to allocate a good budget for the events that we want to have in person, and we want to give all the resources and also make all the new members feel welcome, give them a lot of experience and make more resources available for them as well, like I said before. And fundraising, all right, for fundraising, which is a big part of treasury, we have to keep, also raise money to cover the costs that we will be spending for conference. So I want to host more events that have partnership proceeds in collaboration with the local restaurants like we had before. I want to bring back Daytona Rolex 24 as well, if it's possible, due to COVID, we don't know what the situation is. But it's a really good event in spring that can provide us a lot of money that can cover costs for gala or future conferences as well. And also bring back the sports tournament that we have held previous years. But instead of just soccer tournament, I want to do probably more sports as we have more members that, like a variety of sports. And as well, some other events as, things go along. I can talk about it with the events coordinator or events director, I'm sorry, and see how things go. And that's it for me. Please reach out to me if you have any more questions or in Slack, or if you have any questions now, please feel free to ask.
All right, floor is open for any questions.
You mentioned that you were gonna help the external VP in the sponsorship aspect of it. How that would be, how that would look like.
So in terms of help the external VP is more like being in contact with them, working alongside them, and seeing what kind of sponsors we have, trying to reach out to more sponsors, more companies that can, provide us probably with like, I don't know, food, maybe local restaurants, there might be, it doesn't have to be a company necessarily. We can have, for example, the companies assisting the barbecue, kind of like support us and pay for the food, some of the stuff that we need and things like that. And it all depends on communication and the needs of the external VP, since I'm the one that will be providing the budget for it.
All right, Thais, I see you have your hand up.
I have a question. I don't know if it's for the candidates themselves. I know that two of them have mentioned this in regards to relationships with ODI. Who's the current, professor or staff member in charge of SHPE? Because I know that the relationships with ODI had a lot to do with like Dr. Leanne, that was like in charge of overseeing SHPE, right?
Right. Yes. Dr. Leanne, she left this year to Cornell, unfortunately, but Miss Morales Medina is still there, and I've known her also for the past years. And alongside her, there's also a couple more new members that are working in the office of ODI. But Mr. Medina is the one that's like kind of like the face of it in front of most of the events. So I can still contact her, or she can put me in contact with any of the other new members that are in charge of the office of ODI. Well, yeah, thank you for the question. That was a good question.
I do have a question. So Kevin, in the few minutes that we have left, can you kind of run us through any experiences that you have, either personally or through your job or other experiences where you've dealt with money and how you've organized yourself accordingly?
In terms of dealing with money, I would say I mostly just run my own personal finances. I do a lot of trading on stocks and option trading as well. I feel like to know how to balance budget, you have to know, I guess, how things are moving around you. And in this case, it's not the market, but it would be events, COVID and things like that, things that you need to account for, whether we're in person or virtual. So I feel like this gives me not an edge, but it gives me kind of like an insight into how to run money, how to save it, and how to raise more money in case you do spend on money.
All right, and Nat, we have about a minute left, so this is the last question for now.
Yeah, I'll make it really quick. Last semester, Paul issued us a refund for the SHPE National Conference.
Yeah.
Do you plan on using the same technique he did, or?
Yes, of course. That technique is a very good technique, since we can promote a lot of member participation in the committees and in the club as well as a whole. So I think we were gonna bring this back again, but like I said, I also wanna reach out to SGA and other possibly sponsors, so we can make it even lower than that.
Yeah, I'm gonna make this even quicker. I was mostly asking how you plan on giving us the refund in the future.
The refund, I think it will depend also on points and participation, by joining committees and having, I think it depends on also the cost of the conference itself, since it's going to be in person. We also don't know how much it's going to be. But also, I want to take into account transportation, so I can take the people who are going to there, so they don't have to pay for transportation as well. But in terms of refund, I guess it will be the same way.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, of course.
All right, Kevin, that is your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, guys, and remember to vote Kevin.
Santi, you're up.
Sharing. All right, can you guys see the screen? Everything good? Assuming that's a yes.
Yeah, you're good. Sorry.
All right, thanks. Well, what's up, everyone? My name is Santiago Valdez. I am currently running for the treasurer for the school year of 2021-2022. So a little bit about me, for those that don't know, I am currently an industrial engineering student. I'm also the current development director for SHPE, and I'm an avid learner. So we'll start with this left side. I think that part of the things that have really made me who I am is just that ability to take on a white belt mentality. I really love to take on new challenges and try to learn as much as I can about that subject in order to, like, obviously do it effectively and proficiently. Then on the left side, a lot of you know this, and as you can see by the wall back there, I love to read, and that goes along with the avid learner, right? I love reading, I love learning about whether it's finances, leadership skills, habits, all these kind of things. The last 4 years, I've really just dedicated myself to, you know, adding skills outside of just the academic realm of school and everything. I really wanted to focus on that personal and professional development side. And I've done that through reading. So then I also love sports and competition. That's a little bit about me. You know, right now my current top 2 sports are basketball and snowboarding. So, you know, any day of the week I can talk about those things. And also I love this familia, which is actually part of the reason why I've decided to come back for this following year and run for treasurer, just because the last year has been one of the most fulfilling and growing experiences in my college years. And I really want to give back to that. And I feel like that's something that all of us who are actually running share. I think that this has been such a big, I guess, ROI for me that I just want to continue giving. So qualifications, why do I think I'm qualified? Why should you trust me with SHPE's money next year? And I'll let you guys know. First and foremost, financial courses and materials, along with the whole avid learning aspect. About 4-ish years ago, I signed up for this thing called Financial Peace University, and it was really just a course. It's a 9-week course filled by, I'm not sure if you guys know the name, but Dave Ramsey. He's one of, like, internet's financial gurus. And that course, along with other books, have really helped me to get a good hold of, you know, money, of understanding how to budget properly, how to set goals and hit those goals, how to understand the difference between an asset or a liability, a need and a want, things like that. So that's really helped me prepare myself for, you know, any sort of financial need. I'm also a budget nerd. This goes along with that material. Like I have like 3 different things that I use to track my spending and all of these things. And I really, really do think that before obviously coming into an organization and trying to, you know, become a treasurer, you know, you first have to take care of that personal side. And I know I have that on lock. The other side of the treasurer role is not only just, you know, managing the money and things like that, but it's also like connecting with sponsors and making sure that you can build a good network and / reputation for SHPE so that we can continue to receive more opportunities and excuse me.
Checkpoint 2 starts in 15
The Alexa's going off. So that's another part of it, you know. I always make sure that my Alexa's helping me out with my with my resources and my budgets. Wow. It's really, all right, back at it. That just had to happen. But anyways, I enjoyed making connections, something that this role has really provided for me. and by role, I mean the development role this last year, is coming out and really talking with a lot of professionals, a lot of companies, and that's really helped when really learning how to ask for something, right? So when we're trying to bring sponsors and opportunities to this organization, I think that alongside the external VP, I'm a really good role to be in that room with, because one of the things is I truly believe in this organization and what it offers. So when you have that conviction to really speak and connect with someone, that relationship aspect really matters. And then of course, delivering. I think it's important to deliver on the things you want to do and the things you're committed to doing, right? So that's one of the things I really pride myself on, is just delivering, following through with what I say I want to do. Hopefully I've been able to show that within this last year as well. So really quickly, just the plans, very brief. Obviously, this whole thing starts in the summer, right? So we want to prep for conference that will be in the fall. That's going to be like the biggest challenge, obviously. And obviously, we're going to be transitioning to an in-person conference once again. So luckily, it's going to be in Orlando. And I think that through proper planning and with the e-board, we can make it a really, really good experience. Of course, in the fall, we want to deliver the best experience for all the members, make it as seamless as possible so that you're actually focused on the whole conference itself and getting the opportunities that you deserve.
All right, so that is time, unfortunately.
All right, thank you guys. Reach out, I'm here.
All right, so any questions for Santi?
Yeah, I have a quick question. You were talking about how good you are at managing your finances, and I wanted to ask, what is, here, I'm having trouble phrasing the question. Practically, I'll give an example first. When I wanted to build my PC, I had to create a budget in order to do that efficiently. What is a budget you've created to purchase something that you would really want, whether it be a PC, a car, etc.?
I would say it's I would say currently right now, my brother and I are going through the process of buying a house. And what we've had to do is started planning from this about almost a year ago, where we're like, okay, let's set a budget of how much we want to put down. Let's set a budget of how much we need to start setting aside per month. And obviously just, I think money management and stuff like that is more about just behavior, because we all have the knowledge and we have the general understanding, but it's all about behavior. And I think that once you have a plan and just stay true to that plan, you'll be able to hit that goal for your budget, you know?
Awesome, thank you.
I have a good question. So I know with Treasure, the main thing is either, approving or disapproving whether someone can get funding. Hoping that you don't give like favorites to certain events or different people. How do you think you would be best fit to, have that responsibility and choose where the money is best allocated for?
For sure. So I've really had to learn in the past year how to say no to things, right? And I think the biggest lesson I picked up is really defining what is a need and what is a want. And obviously, I think there's times where you can, pitch into a want here and there. But as far as like organizations and the demand of what SHPE is going to need, my biggest, let's say, my first initial thought is going to be, okay, how is this going to benefit the organization in the long run? And obviously talk with the team and see what kind of decision is best.
So you said to differentiate the difference between want and needs. What does SHPE UCF need right now that you would take initiative on?
For sure. I think that the need for SHPE right now is just preparing, and I think this is the biggest challenge we're all going to face, right? It's preparing to come back in person and get used to that environment once again. I think it's going to be a quick transition because we're all eager to come back, but I think the biggest need within that transition is going to be to make sure that we do it safely, to make sure that we're not, so excited about coming back that we overspend on certain areas just to like try to make up for the last year. Obviously the priority is bringing opportunities to the members, and the biggest fish for us is going to be through conference. And I think that'll be the biggest need, and gearing everything around that.
Thank you.
I have one last final question. We still have some time. So being in person does incur more costs associated with food, events, and things like that, since in-person events happen a lot more often. So as treasurer, what is your plan to make sure that SHPE UCF doesn't use up all its funds and has some left over for the next administration?
Yeah, everyone's gonna starve. No, I'm kidding. I think that it's again beginning with the end in mind. That's something I've always talked about. I think that once we have a general understanding of how many events we're going to have, how many events are going to require food or not, also making sure that we still maintain these certain regularities and making sure that we're being safe with just the food itself, because it's such a hygienic or hygiene thing. But to sum it down, I think arepas and empanadas, that's where it's at as far as the food.
What about Peruvian, bro? Because we're minority right now in this call, you're saying Venezuelan and Colombian?
Empanadas can be Peruvian as well, my guy.
Oh, beautiful.
Nunca probado empanadas peruanas, weón.
Qué rico.
They're the best. They're the best.
So on that note, with Peruvians being the minority, thank you for the questions. Any other questions for Santi, make sure to send them to him directly or wait till the very end. So that concludes the treasurer portion. And now we will be moving on to the internal VP section as well. So Ariane, the floor is yours whenever you are ready. Also, I have been sending DMs when you have 1 minute left, so make sure you do have the chat open on the side, just as a forewarning.
Okay, sorry. All right, so hello, my name is Ariane, and I am first generation Bolivian American, and I'm in my 3rd year studying computer science and running for internal VP for SHPE. During my time as a SHPE member and as a SHPE Tina's co-director, I've gained new mentors and friends, improved and expanded my social skills, and learned about what it takes and means to be a leader. So much of this I owe to the SHPE community, which has ignited a passion in me to give back. During my time as a director, I've come to recognize some of the conversations our organization is missing out on, which are diversity and inclusion. As internal VP, I want to provide more workshops for SHPE members on topics such as gender, race, sexual orientation, ethnicity, allyship, and many more other important topics. I also want to encourage and implement training for our future e-board and directors at least once a semester on diversity and inclusion, so you all have leaders that are informed and understand the range of diversity within the community. My last goal is to rejuvenate the Latin culture in the form of events that are geared towards all members, whether it's for Latinx who don't speak Spanish, international students who miss home, allies who want to learn and experience the culture, or for those who want to discover their Latinx identity. This past year, I've had the opportunity to be the first SHPE Tina's co-director, where I've been able to take initiative to produce 20 SHPE Tina events, 14 of those being events where being purely safe spaces for women to share their experiences and allies to learn and ask questions. Through my experience hosting, planning, and delegating responsibilities to SHPE Tina committee members, I know I have the ability to execute all the internal VP's responsibilities and the goals that I have as VP. As someone who doesn't speak Spanish well and has felt insecure about calling myself Latinx, I can say that SHPE has definitely gave me an environment where I can explore my Latinx identity. And I think we as an organization have the ability to promote ourselves and normalize our presence in STEM even more. My journey with SHPE is not over, and I have so much more in me to put into this organization. And I hope to represent you all next year as internal VP for 2021-2022. Yeah, so questions? Thank you.
Karen, go for it.
So as this semester it was virtual, and then we're gonna just hope for the best that next semester it'll be in person. How do you think your position as internal VP will help and impact that transition from virtual to in person, seeing as internal has a lot to do with room booking and the internal things going on within the school and making sure everything stays safe and up to COVID standards as everything moves towards in person. And how do you plan on having an impact?
I definitely, well, as one of the basic responsibilities as internal VP is to be kind of like a bridge between, you know, directors and e-boards. I also think it's also a bridge between members and e-board and directors. So I think listening to the members about like how safe they feel, and then kind of taking into that account when booking, and also just booking rooms and kind of getting a sense of like how the members feel about the space that we're providing them in an in-person environment. I think the internal VP will have a lot to do, will have a big impact on how we transition, like you said, because I will be having most of the responsibilities on doing those, on providing the spaces that we need, whether it be for events or for general or GBMs. So yeah, I'm not sure if I answered your question. Please let me know.
Yeah, for the most part.
All right, so I do have a question. So as internal VP, as you mentioned, it's a lot of relationship building and a lot of compromise and really understanding people. So how is it that you deal with any conflicts, whether it's conflict resolution or, yeah, how do you deal with conflict resolution is the question.
Well, I guess like through Sheptina's, I feel like I've had this experience to kind of like hear a lot of discussion, whether, you know, it be just from women with women or like women and men. And I feel like when I was hosting those events, I really had to kind of play as someone who promote, or like would suggest, not suggest, but use language or vocabulary that would make both sides, both parties feel validated in their argument. I think that's really important. Neither party should feel ignored or invalidated. But yeah, but definitely trying to find a solution, whether it be middle. But I think I do have, after this experience this past year, I do have the ability to say no to things, or just like definitely come to a concrete solution if it's taking too long to solve a problem.
I have another question. So you talked a lot about making SHPE more inclusive. So how do you think you can, what do you think you can do to initiate making people from different cultures, backgrounds, identities feel more comfortable in SHPE and make them want to be more involved within the community?
So I think just bringing up the conversations and showing our solidarity in their fight, I guess, in their adversity that they face. Of course, we promote Hispanic promotion in STEM, but you know, obviously we're open to everybody. And I think we just don't have enough conversations, even about like, you know, Hispanic culture and just like the diversity we face in STEM. So I think having conversations is definitely like the beginning steps to kind of building and that like fostering people from other identities to come and join and interact with our community even more. Like I said, I do want to do workshops, and those workshops definitely would be like in collaboration with other engineering or STEM related organizations, as well as ODI. They do provide a lot of workshops already made for people. So
Thank you for the answer.
Nat?
You had mentioned that you want to make sure members feel safe in the space you are providing.
Mhm.
Let's give an example of a member not feeling safe at a GBM and informing you. What would you change about the room and the booking?
Well, definitely I would change the max attendees for, well, in terms, what I meant by safe is like in a COVID situation, if they don't feel, if they think, well, sorry, if they don't feel uncomfortable with the amount of people there, then I would definitely take that into consideration and try to survey everybody else on how they're feeling about how many people are coming to events, and you know how SHPE is keeping that in check. and then go from there, seeing what the whole population is feeling. And yeah, that's how it would go, or go towards that problem. Yeah.
All right, we have time for one more question. So Kevin.
Oh, okay.
Hey, Ariane. It's Kevin here. I had so something that came up when you were doing your presentation about trying to include everybody. SHPE has had somewhat of a history of having cliques. I wanted to know what your opinion was on these cliques and what your, I guess, plan of attack would be if you had an opinion of not liking it.
Yeah, so as both the SHPE co-director and as just a regular member in the year before with no position, I've definitely seen these cliques and I know them. I think, as VP, because as internal VP, because I have this, I will be having a close relationship with the directors. I'll definitely keep in contact with the events director, because I think that's where it happens the most, where we're having, whether it's like virtual events or in-person events, people just kind of gravitate towards those who they know. And I definitely want to make these events where it's putting old members and new members together. I definitely want to emphasize that so much. But honestly, like I've experienced the cliques at development events before, and I know that they meant nothing by it, and others had also come up to me, but I think we can do so much better. And yeah, and I want to definitely keep in check with just the members, the SHPE members in general, about like how they're feeling about it. Definitely, like at least once a month, if how many new people they've met, how many new people they've talked to, just to keep keep that data, just to see where we can improve in certain areas. Yeah.
Gotcha. So just to summarize, to make sure that I understood, is your opinion that you do not like the cliques and you would like to see them absolved?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, Ariane. I appreciate that. Thank you.
All right, Ariane, great job. Thank you so much. And now to move on to Gabby.
Alrighty, let me just hit that and then I'll share my screen. Can everyone see my screen? Just double checking on everyone.
Yep.
Alrighty, so for those of you who don't know me, my name is Gabriela Medina, but everyone knows me as Gabby, and I'm currently running for next year's internal VP role. Oh, that's not working. So who is Gabby? Don't hate it, I don't care. La arepa es colombiana. I love my Colombian food. I'm so proud to be Colombian. A little bit about me. I'm a third-year industrial engineering student. Actually, last year, during COVID, I decided to run for the director role of projects and membership, but sadly, I didn't receive that role. But I still wanted to be involved and make, myself put out there within SHPE. And as soon as Santi and Kevin put out that they needed coordinators, I shot my shot. They interviewed me and I was able to receive the position. And that's why I'm currently one of the coordinators for development. I joined SHPE back in fall 2019 before COVID hit. And if you didn't know, last semester I was the top member, and currently I am again the top member, going for that 1 year of being the top member. So why did I decide to run? When I joined SHPE, I was mainly part of mentorship and marketing committee. And within these two committees, I was able to meet amazing group of people that have played such a huge part of my life. I met Carlos, Tony, Fernando, Jazz. In the marketing, I met Kevin, I met Cam. I also met, I meant to say Jazz, I met in marketing. And these people have played such a huge role. I know Jazz was like one of the first people to help me out with my resume, and how far I've come to it now, I can't be so thankful with her and everyone else that has helped me. And with everything being online, I still was able to receive that help and give that help to others, and was able to receive offers from top leading companies. So one of my main goals, aside from giving back to this organization like everyone is help everyone that wants to put in the work to receive that first internship and full-time offer. Because I know a lot of people didn't receive or had that expectation from having our conference virtually. However, I like to say I proved everyone wrong. If you put in the work, if you put in the effort, if you worked, you timed yourself, you scheduled yourself, and you had everything aligned, you should have been able to receive an offer. And if you didn't, I would like to work with you in the next year, having conference in person, to be able to, for you to receive that internship or full-time offer. So with that being said, some of my ideas are working, so I like to call it, I don't know what we'll call it, but professional development 2.0. I feel like the dev team did such a great job, even with the obstacle being virtually. I think we were able to reach out and help as many people as we could virtually. Like I said before, going back into person, I still want to help everyone get that for internship or full-time offer. I have mentorship up here because, like I said before, when I first joined SHPE, mentorship was like the biggest part why I stayed here. I think mentorship is such a great part of the organization that it really helps people, you know, make connections, be able to like meet people, be able to like make your resume better, your cover letter better, your presentation skills better, and so many other things. And I think that is so important for our new members. And like, as everyone has said before, you know, transitioning back into person, I know that as internal VP, you're in charge of, you know, setting up the rooms, being in contact with the board of directors, you know, having that connection with the e-board. And I want to work with every single one of them to be able to have a successful year, and also be able to bring back that energy that we used to have in person. You know, we obviously kind of lost that because virtually we can't, you know, be next to each other, see face to face, but I want to be able to have that energy back once we go back into person. So like I said before, my main goal is I want to help every SHPE member who is willing to put in the work and achieve in getting their internship or full-time offer their heart desires. I'm gonna say myself, I had a couple part-time jobs, I had my projects, I had the leadership in my resume, but I didn't expect to get such a big company like Boeing for my internship this summer. And I did put in the work with everyone that was helping me out, and I want to help other members to achieve that same goal that I was able to achieve in this next coming year. So with that being said, by electing me as internal VP, you will be investing in a brighter tomorrow. Vote for SHPE's future. Thank you.
All right, Gabby, thank you so much. Are there any questions for Gabby?
I had a question for both candidates running for internal. What are your plans for the summer?
So I plan to be in contact with the e-board throughout the whole summer so we can plan out a successful year. I know I'll be interning, but that doesn't mean that I'm gonna, you know, slack off and wait until fall starts. I want to start planning as soon as we can all get together to plan out an amazing year, you know, transitioning back into person.
I kind of worded the question incorrectly. I want to hear what the plans are for SHPE and also what you guys are just doing in your free time, like if you're going to the beach and stuff like that.
So like I said, I'm interning at Boeing. Also, as soon as I get my second vaccine, I'll be heading back to the gym, getting back into shape. And also, you know, working on myself to improve myself, not only like academically, but also personally. You know, I always like to work to grow as a better person.
I want to give Gabby as much time to answer the other questions, so I'll answer at the end.
I have a question. So as internal VP, you're third in line. So there's obviously president, external, and internal. So whenever president and external aren't very available, how do you plan on stepping up and supporting their roles as well as the other roles in the e-board when they're a bit busy?
Yeah, of course. So yeah, obviously we all have, life comes in the way and, you know, things happen. I'm a very understanding, genuine person. I always am very organized. I'm the type of person that likes to believe that you can make time for anything. And if that means that I have to make time to step up to be external or president, I will do it, and I will do it as best as I can to be successful for the organization.
So I do have a question. Sorry. So with internal, how do you handle when, let's say you have an idea and you want to do something, but everyone is kind of against the idea or doesn't agree with you? How do you handle that?
So first I ask, why are you like disagreeing with me? Then after that, I would say, okay, so how can we improve this idea so everyone agrees with me and we can make this a successful idea that we would like to come up with in SHPE? And then from then on, obviously, because I would like to have everyone's input and I would like to everyone to be in agreement with everyone so we can have a successful idea.
Is there still time for another question?
Yes, there is.
So seeing that internal is kind of that leeway between, you have a lot of free space to kind of do what you want. How are you kind of committed to, give it continuously your all and not like slack off throughout, let's say throughout the year, or always kind of give forth what the ideas you have rather than pushing, not giving it your all?
So I'm a person who likes to set goals and I won't stop until they're achieved. And so, like you said, we have a little bit of leeway with that. So if I can add more goals, add more ideas, I'm going to keep working to make SHPE an amazing organization that it already is and continue working on that. I always have I don't know if you guys can see this, I have a whiteboard here. Top half of it is my classes. Bottom half of it, I have SHPE, I have Boeing, I have important dates. So that's why I think I'd be a good role for that.
I have one last final question. When it comes to being internal VP, as mentioned before, you are third in line, and that means undertaking a lot of responsibility, not only to help support your president and external, but also any of your board members or your treasurer or secretary. So in the case that, let's say you have a lot going on, it's midterms week, but let's say something else comes up with SHPE that needs to be taken care of, how do you manage your time to make sure that your own personal things are being taken care of while SHPE's responsibilities are being taken care of as well?
I love that you asked that because I'm kind of having a rough week, but I'm not letting that stop me. So every Sunday I like to, sit down, plan out my week, see what days are busier than others. Obviously, if I have certain days that are more busy than others, I will let the e-board and the board of directors know. However, if I have to step up, pushing my boundaries, I will, because I know the organization needs me. And yeah.
All right, sounds good. So that is time for questions. Gabby, thank you so much. That now
Of course.
concludes.
Oh, sorry.
No, go for it. Sorry.
I was gonna quickly say, if anyone has any more questions, just send me a DM on Slack. I literally have always my phone on me. If you don't like Slack, I'm on Instagram, Snapchat, whatever the hell you have me on. But you can ask me any questions.
All right, sounds good. Freddie, you're up.
I had a quick thing to say. I asked both candidates the question and only one answered because we were waiting for Gabby to finish.
So Ariane, just go ahead and answer once we finish with everyone's presentations, just so we can kind of stick to the schedule.
All right, should I start?
Yeah, go for it.
All right, what's up, guys? I'm Frederick Santiago. I'm running for external vice president. All right, so about me. I'm an incoming junior, so I'm a sophomore right now. I'm majoring in computer science, and I have interned at Northrop Grumman. I did that my freshman year, and I'm an incoming intern at Microsoft. So, history with SHPE. So I started SHPE junior chapter in high school. I went to a STEM school and I really felt that there was a need for diversity. So I started with a group of friends, a SHPE junior / NSB chapter. And so that's where I built, I guess, this relationship with SHPE. And so I felt that it was just, I felt like I should have continued it. And so my first semester, I joined SHPE UCF. That was in the fall of 2019. During my freshman year, I was the top member twice, according to the leaderboard. As I also earned membership of, or member of the month, the first month I joined. Slight flex there. SHPE. So this year I was SHPE UCF secretary, and that I think that plays a big part because I'll be the only e-board member for the new I guess like new board to be on the e-board previously. Okay, so let's go with my goals. So I think people have previously mentioned this, and it's, I think, pretty prevalent. So I want to enable transition in in-person events. And I personally don't think it's going to be easy. I feel that maybe going from in-person to virtual was a little bit easier than, I think it's going to be easier than like going from virtual to in-person. Main reason is that some of us don't have like the experience of like doing that ourselves. So then I also want to maximize member attendance to SHPE conference. And this is pretty important since the SHPE conference will be in Orlando. There really is an excuse why not to get as many members to the conference. I also want to attract new sponsors. And then I also want to rebuild member involvement. I think it's, or due to COVID, I feel like we had an impact in our involvement. And I feel like once we get back, I just want to rebuild it. So like build SHPE UCF or make SHPE UCF great again. All right. I also want to improve the data analytics. I feel like the way we collect data at the moment can definitely be improved on. And as an external VP, I might not benefit of this right now, but I know if I do this work this upcoming year, I know the next external VP is going to benefit a lot from that. So, and then finally, I want to update the SHPE UCF website. I felt like we should have pushed this a little bit more to try to get this website a little bit more updated and actually up to this, to like the work we've currently been doing. And so moving on to, I guess, my ideas. So with that being said, I want to establish an alumni/corporate database for members. I feel like many our members might not know who to reach out to unless they're part of like this group or cliques, whatever. So I feel like building an alumni like database will help people just like if they want to find information based on like companies and stuff like that. I think that will benefit them. And then corporate databases for members, if like for say, or I guess the alumni one would be like if people have questions based on like their experiences at like companies and stuff like that. And then corporate database would be like members reaching out to companies, asking for, I guess, whatever they need. I also want to evolve the SHPE UCF barbecue, as you may know, and trying to like take advantage of this year. We did our SHPE UCF barbecue online or virtually, so I think we can benefit from that as well as like having in person. So I would like to do like one day in person and one day virtual. I think that'd be a nice way to include companies that otherwise wouldn't be able to join if they were if the event was solely in person. Also want to create SHPE onboarding. I feel that we have like 1,000+ people in our Slack, but many of them are not actually like active or they're just there to just watch. I feel like actually onboarding people when they first join our Slack, like giving them a walkthrough through our Slack, walkthrough to whatever platform we're using, and actually like introducing ourselves, even if it's virtually, face to face, is a lot better for future involvement and retention. And then I also want to update our website. I kind of mentioned this earlier, to be timeless, member friendly, and informative. And what I mean is that I feel that our website is solely, or not solely, but I feel like it's a lot based on like attracting members. But I feel like when we do attract them, I feel like our website could have more of a use to where if members have, let's say they want to know something, they can learn it from there. So for example, maybe a member wants to know, how do I like reject an offer or something like that. I feel like having something in our website where it says like, okay, I guess templates for all these things, like information wise, would be really beneficial for our members. Yeah, so those are my ideas. I'll come up with more as time goes, but do you guys have any questions?
I have a question. So as external VP, what are your plans to, and you touched on this a little bit, but what are your plans to increase the number of sponsors and to increase SHPE's network? Because we have a lot of companies that we're familiar with, but what about the companies that are a little harder to get to or just that we're not familiar with?
Yeah, so I think in terms of network or getting new companies, I don't think there's like too much around that other than like actually reaching out to these companies and like utilizing our current network to build on top of that. So I guess like companies that we aren't able to, or I guess like personally myself, I feel that as a freshman slash like or sophomore like undergrad, I've had my experience talking to different people, at least from my industry, computer science. So I feel like I can use the skill set that I've, I guess, built up throughout these 2 years to get a hold of these companies, as well as like get them to, I guess, help us. I don't know if that answered the question.
Yeah, it did. Thank you.
I do have a question for you, Freddie.
Wait, Kevin had his hand up.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry, Kevin. You're amazing.
It's okay. Thank you. Yeah. So hey, Freddie, it's Kevin. I was excited to see you running, and I had a question. During my time during internships, I 2 times I was kind of like the only UCF student at the companies that I went to, which was great. I was exposing the university to a new business, a new location. But I remember the first time I went to my first conference, I was really excited because I wanted to work with Toyota. Toyota isn't a company that we work with, right? Because they're just far away, right? They're in the Midwest, and I get it, the logistics. But it got me thinking, do you plan on prioritizing those companies that we don't have direct access to here? So we have the Boeings, we have the Northrop, we have the Lockheed Martins, the Siemens. What about all those companies, right? The companies in the Midwest, the companies in the West Coast who aren't, reaching out to us directly, but they could still be a valuable connection to have. What's your plan on getting those companies involved?
So I guess there's two questions with that. So do I think, or is it my priority to get those companies? I personally would say no. I don't think it's my priority to get those companies yet. I feel like first I should establish, at least when I begin, I should establish already close connections. Once I get those like ready to go and I feel comfortable with them, or I guess we feel comfortable with them, that's when I'll move on to companies we haven't reached out to yet. And what was the second part to it? My bad.
Basically, you answered whether it was your priority, and then if it was your priority, I wanted to know how you plan on executing it. But it seems like you want to prioritize the connections we already have more, so it really doesn't apply. But thank you, Freddie. Appreciate that. Thanks for the transparency.
Yeah.
Tony?
Yep. So, Freddie, do you like doing repetitive work? And it's a weird question, right? But
No.
maybe I'm asking this because based on experience, right?
Yeah.
I want to get your perspective about, would you apply different strategies to get different companies, or would you apply the same strategy for everyone? Since method A already worked, method A will work for every company out there. Do you like doing repetitive work, or would you apply different strategies?
So I would say, I don't know, like I definitely would not want to do repetitive work, or as a computer science, yeah. So that as a computer science, like I guess one of my mentality a lot of the time is to automate stuff. So I guess repetitive work, I guess in the field I am is pretty helpful. But I also think personalizing, if I'm reaching out to a company and definitely doing my research with a company, like putting that extra touch will not only like get me, I guess, one step closer to, I guess, securing the bag with them, but it also gives that personal touch, like maybe other chapters and other people are reaching out to them like the same way. Touching it up a little bit and being a little bit more personable while reaching out, I think will be a benefit. And definitely like, I feel that I also have to explore more ways to, or more creative ways to get these companies to help us out.
Beautiful.
All right. We have time for one last question. So Ariane, I saw your hand up first. Thais, hold on to your question until after Jazz presents her stuff. But Ariane, go ahead.
I forgot my question. I'm sorry.
You're good. Thais?
Okay, I guess my question piggybacks from what everyone has been asking. What type of employee are you prioritizing with this type of companies? Do you just want to build connections with, like, for example, software engineers, industrial engineers that just play a role in the company, or you're targeting a very specific demographic, such as hiring managers? Like, what is the goal when you're reaching out to a company?
So I guess the goal when I'm reaching out to a company is to find what benefits most our chapter. And so that can be members or that is our members. So how our members can benefit most from that. And that can be like money, because we really need, as a nonprofit, money is definitely important. And then also like the services that they can provide to our members as well. So I think I would say like those are the like big things that I would like to focus on. But yeah, but was there like another part to that question? I feel like there was.
Yeah, I just wanted to get a feel for like what type of like people within the companies you're like reaching out to.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so people, typically it's like the university recruiting or like the university relations people. So those would be the main people I would like to reach out to. And the main reason is because they already have experience talking with other chapters or not other chapters, but other organizations and funding and stuff like that.
Okay. All right. So that concludes external. Thank you, Freddie. And now moving on to president. Jazz, the floor is yours.
All right. Hello, everyone. I'm going to start sharing my screen. Can everyone see it so far?
Yep, you're good.
We're good? Awesome. Alrighty. Well, hello, everyone. My name is Jazmine Manriquez. I will be running for next year's president. So let's get started. So who am I? So a little bit about me. My hometown is Tampa, Florida, so not too far away. Originally, my parents are from Mexico, so I like to throw that out there. I am currently a fourth year. I'm going to be a fifth year industrial engineer. I have a minor in international engineering and engineering leadership. I have also had a couple of different internships in the past, whether it be working with Lockheed at facilities, working for the Navy at the Information Warfare Center, Boeing, and this upcoming summer, I will be a Accenture summer analyst. A little bit about my involvement, my past with my time here at UCF. So I joined SHPE back in spring 2019. So I was a sophomore in spring. I feel like I honestly missed out that first year. I saw all of the great involvement that everyone in my same year was having, so I thought I'd finally join. This past year, I have been the marketing director. Outside of SHPE, I have been very involved with the Society of Women Engineers. I was the conference director, so holding the bill, bringing everyone to the hotel, creating all different events. I am also this year's current external vice president, so bringing in a lot of different employers, bringing for different events. That has been great. I've been a Excel Compass mentor, so for any incoming freshmen who are undecided or are going into engineering, I've been able to help them. I've helped over, I think, 30 students or 25 to 30 different students throughout these past 3 years. I've also, my freshman/sophomore year, I was involved with the National Residence Hall Honorary. So I was the business administration coordinator. So working with more of the budget and seeing what type of fundraisers and everything we can do for the members. And I was also the co-founder and vice president for the Mexican Student Association my second year at UCF. So really wanting to, I always had that stretch of wanting to be involved for the Hispanic community. Being that I was in Mexa, I was also part of the Latino Leadership Council. So wanting to implement and kind of join all of these different the Hispanic leadership groups to create something within all of those. This is a little bit of the pictures that I've been involved since the spring 2019. So it's been anywhere from helping at night hacks, the Chef's Giving, HENAC, RLDC, a bunch of different stuff. So let's talk a little bit about the initiatives or goals that I kind of have for the next year. So to start off, some of the things that I have is starting a spirit week. So I know a lot of the times people, like we mentioned, have cliques. And so this spirit week is essentially either to involve new members in there and kind of also just conglomerate everyone. And each day of the week, there'd be something different to either build community or fundraise or different fun stuff along the way. Sorry, let me just open up the chat to make sure I'm good. I also really want to do hospitality suite prep. So because conference is going to be here this year, hopefully, you know, preparing students for what hospitality suites really are, because I know starting off, I had no idea what it was. So my initial goal for conference is to fund or have on the SGA bill 100 tickets for conference. Following that is collaborating with engineering clubs for conference funding. So I know a lot of the other engineering clubs, they don't use their conference funding because they may not have something to use it for. So working with them, whether it be funding for their specific major or funding for different groups, so that way we are, you know, utilizing all of those funds. Just like Freddie said, I think keeping those 2-day barbecue would be a great idea. So possibly implementing being one in person and one online. I would like to have camping trip to be a 2-semester event. So definitely working very hand in hand with the events director to have a fall UCF camping trip and then the spring regional. I also would really like to have, you know, kind of a prep for graduates going out of post-graduation. So whether that be a financial series working with banking or just different things to kind of prepare them for, you know, information that we all really want. But sometimes we just don't have access to, or we don't know where to start. Continuing off of that, partnering with other clubs outside of engineering as well. So whether that be the Latino American Student Association, so LASA, Alpha, ISE, all of these fun stuff to kind of create a new demographic. Creating fundraisers, maybe a mini chef barbecue, company sponsored events. So these are, I've learned this from SWE, kind of being able to partner with other companies to be able to have tangible new projects so that people are very hands-on and, you know, are able to work with different things. In addition, working with our Central Florida SHPE chapter with the alumni that are in the region, and possibly having more industry events or working with industry professionals. So I really want to focus on Trayendo la Familia and really bringing us together, because this is a cultural organization, but also really wanting to build that strong foundation of what we have and sharing that with the UCF community or sharing that with the community we have. So I really want to focus on that and bring it together to what SHPE can do and all of the different students we have. So why should you vote for me? I would say a lot to the table. I am very dedicated to this club. I know I was hectically busy, but my goal throughout the entire year was SHPE. I bring a network. I've worked with a diverse amount of different groups, a diverse amount of events. So I bring a lot to the table, and also with that comes the past leadership experience. I bring creativity, motivation, commitment, and time dedication. The main reason I go for president is because I do see that I have that time to bring into SHPE and really bring it to that next level. My overall goal is really to just make a difference to the club and the members, because I don't want this to be just another resume builder, because to be very transparent, I feel like I already have that. And I really just want to bring that to the next level and continue to bring SHPE, because it's brought so much to me, and I want to continue that to everyone else that may join or is already part of the team. So thank you all so much for hearing a little bit about me, and I'd love to hear any questions or anything that you all would have to say.
So I do have one question. When it comes to being president, it means that you are the face of the organization. You are the main representative, both on campus and off campus. So with that in mind, and being in charge of an organization with over 200 members, how do you see yourself managing your time to make sure that you don't burn yourself out too quickly?
Of course, I think burnout was something that I definitely experienced this past year, and I knew going in that was something that I was going to experience. So I definitely tried to, you know, make sure my priorities were in line. So like I said, since the start, SHPE has always been kind of what I knew I wanted to dedicate most of my time to. So I always brought or tried to bring my full self to it. In addition, I'm running for this because I know I have the time. I'll say for the fall, I know SHPE that's where you need to dedicate all of your time to. And I have a light schedule for the fall, which is why I want to dedicate all of that time into something that I know I'm able to help a ton of people to. So yeah, Does that answer your question? Awesome.
Kevin, you have your hand raised.
Yeah, hey Jasmine, it's Kevin. I know you mentioned that you already have this leadership experience and you want to leverage that to bring the organization to a new level. But I'm curious on a personal level, what are your goals and ambitions, and how do you see this role contributing to you reaching those personal goals and objectives that you have for yourself?
Of course. I guess for me, on personal goals, I think I've always seen SHEP or SHEP president as being something that's very unattainable for me, seeing that it's like something I think I SHEP as like being one of the largest clubs or engineering clubs at UCF. So being able to kind of carry a group of people, carry a set goal or a ambiguous goal, and really drive all of ourselves to create something that maybe like no one really knows what we're going into. So just being able to really drive and create something new and see everyone prosper into a new goal. And I know like this year, the past year, they've been, blowing everything out of the water and just continuously setting a new definition, I guess, for what is that new goal that SHEP UCF is going to cross, and just bringing ourselves to a new level. And, I always see it as like, we're not just SHEP UCF here at a local community. We are known as a region, as a nation. And so just being able to create new events, new goals, new alumni, whatever that may be, I really just want to be able to be a part of that team and be able to create, I guess, new excellence. I know it's very broad, but I really see that this group is able to go to new levels every year.
So to piggyback off that, two questions. My first question being, what role would you want SHEP UCF to play on a regional level and with other SHEP chapters in the state?
I guess I see it more as like being able to collaborate either with different events, different alumni, different partners, because with my past leadership experience, I feel like I haven't really been able to go past just what the local community is able to do, but either being able to collaborate and create new events, but also make a distinction of who SHEP UCF is, and bring that awareness and bring those possibilities to the members as well, to see what are other schools doing and how can we accomplish that as well.
Okay, and my second question is a little bit, I'm going to pivot in another direction. So with presidency, things don't always go your way. Things do often change mid-sprint. So as of right now, conference is set in person, but if that were to change, how do you see yourself pivoting your leadership to accommodate for another virtual conference?
Excuse me. Yeah, I think that's a great question. Seeing that it was virtual, I know we learned a lot of different things on how to handle different circumstances. So I guess at the moment, because I do have experience on how, either conference development, conference bill, how everything was kind of handled, being able to see it as like a logistical standpoint, I think that's covered, whether it be working with the team or being able to work with SGA, I think that's fine. But if it's more on, so the part that you're asking, I guess bringing the members, bringing that motivation on what conference really is, I think it all comes down to the motivation that we all bring. I don't think it comes down to just me, what am I bringing to the table and what am I able to levitate, but creating that energy towards everyone and saying like, while this is while this may be online, we're still able to create or bring everyone to an online conference, and really like show what it is worthy. I know being that it was online, everyone was kind of like, oh, what the heck are we expecting? Like, I don't know where to go. But now that we do have somewhat of an idea of what it is, we've experienced all of these other conferences, we're able to see, okay, this is what you need to bring to the table. Hearing from other people, this is what I experienced, this is what worked best. So really being able to bring all those experiences so that everyone is able to have that great experience that everyone has in conference, whether it be in person or online.
All right, Darina, I saw you have your hand up.
Yeah, hi. So I wanted to ask you that, so about the topic of things going back to in person, do you think that, I know you mentioned that you wanted, I believe, the industry barbecue to have one virtual, one in person. Do you think that that would be kind of a plan to have SHEP have in general hybrid events as well, where, sometimes we can go in person, sometimes if it's easier, you can go to virtual events, or do you think you would like to prefer to have it all in person?
I definitely want to stay committed to doing hybrid because I think everyone, some people don't feel connected or don't feel as safe going in person. Some people are just better with their flexibility being in person or online. So I think having that hybrid is the best way. And I think I'm going to piggyback to a question that was actually asked, not for myself, but earlier. Having it online just opens up new doors to a lot of different things, whether that be different employers, different students, working with different schools. So I think this hybrid environment is definitely something that we're going to continue doing, and using that to our benefit, seeing what different opportunities can open up from working with people outside of the local community.
Awesome, thank you. And I do have another question if I can. I wanted to ask, I thought it was cool that you mentioned that in SWE you were also a conference chair, which SHEP doesn't have, which made me think, with your role as presidency, do you think that you can open, you and the e-board would be willing to discuss having any new positions, like roles in addition to what we already have to kind of expand the work distribution?
I will say, I know a lot of, or let me not speak to everyone, but I know at least myself, like I mentioned earlier, experienced some burnout, and that might have been because it was just unfamiliarity into what we were getting ourselves into. And so I think opening it up to possibly having new board positions or anything would be great. Especially, I know most of the positions are all full year, and sometimes people do graduate in midway, or they can only dedicate a certain amount of time to their to SHEP. So opening that up, I think, would be a great idea. I don't want to say like yes, because I'm not going to be able to be like, yes, we're going to do that. But I do want to open it up because, like I said, I have past experiences on what did work, what didn't work, and I would love to integrate that into what SHEP could possibly do.
All right, and then last question, Mujahid.
Hey, Jazz, love the presentation. So I have two questions. One of them was that in your ideas, you talked about something regarding a financial literacy course. Can you expand on what that would look like?
Yeah, so I don't know if everyone may have seen it, but we did a small Finance Friday on our Instagram page. And this was essentially just working with a small other Instagram page that essentially promoted financial literacy. And my idea was more so to create kind of a boot camp in a way, but more so like throughout different weeks of the semester to be able to either work with like alumni, financial advisors on what should we know now that we're not doing at the moment. So whether that be creating budgets, Roth IRAs, just little things like that I think would be great for us students who are young and all really want to know but don't really either have the time or motivation to go looking for it, to creating maybe even a new board position on directly reaching out to these little things like that. That's what I kind of had in mind, and kind of expanding that Financial Friday thingy.
Yeah, that's awesome. And the second question I had was, what is your opinion on alumni that want to get involved? Like, obviously, you're going to have a lot of responsibility with managing all the UCF students in SHEP, but what about people who have already graduated but still want to kind of take part?
Yeah, so one thing I will mention, and so I'll refer this back to me being the external vice president for SWE. I reach out to alumni all the time, whether it be incoming, like teaching us about what it's like going into a new company, or whether it be, a panel, really reaching out to, the community that's already experienced what's already happened and being in the SHEP familia, people who are familiar with. That's the first way I go about whenever we're reaching out to, new people or for events. So I think that's the best way. I definitely want to keep that alumni connection. Something that I actually just thought of, but I forgot to add it to my initiatives was creating that alumni list or people to refer to, or like just somewhere that we can all stay connected, because at the moment, like we don't have somewhere where if I want to work for, let's say, Boeing, oh, I see that this person who was in the familia 2 years ago is now working at Boeing, and reaching out to them. So having that type of connection to past alumni or within workshops, however it may be, I think would be a great way to go about it.
Cool. Thank you.
Okay. So that concludes Jazmine's Q&A. I know we went a little bit over, but so the last remaining time that we have until about 8:05 is anyone to ask questions for anyone on the call. I know, Ariane, we had one question to follow up with you for. So let's go ahead and start with that one. And then from there, any last questions that people had for any candidates, that would be the time to do so.
All right, so what I'm doing for the summer is once we elect, or if I do get the position, and once we find our directors, I definitely want to create a relationship between me and them. So, you know, we feel comfortable discussing everything, and it's a safe conversation every time. And then outside of SHPE, and then on top, planning for the goals that I have in mind, as well as the responsibilities for VP. And then outside of SHPE, I will probably be traveling to Bolivia for maybe 2 weeks. And then maybe traveling to Austin, Texas, my hometown, to visit some families and just explore the city again, because I miss my hometown. And yeah, that'd be it.
Nice. All right. So I'm gonna go back to Jazmine really quick. I did have one question I did want to ask. So with us coming back in person, it's kind of SHPE is kind of putting out its new identity. So do you want SHPE to become a social club, a professional club, an academic club? If you had to pick one, where does your vision tailor?
I feel like this is a trick question, because I don't think SHPE is one fit, and that's what we're gonna focus on. Yes, we do share these different aspects of social, professional, volunteerism, all these fun stuff, but we shouldn't focus on one, because once we focus on one, we deter from having the others. I would say if I had to choose, it's none of the above. It's creating that familia aspect, and as a familia, we're gonna encompass all of these, and choose whether it be to go in whether it be like we are a more, let's say, socially present club. That doesn't mean we're gonna try and deter from being any of these others. We follow these key principles of wanting to move together and create this, and so if we have that strong team to share, to move us to the next step, then let's not focus on one or the other. We want to focus on creating that aspect and creating something new for them all. So yeah, I know that's not to answer your question, but I don't want to focus on one, because that's not the goal.
No, so it was a true question, and you answered it the right way. So good job. All right. Any other questions for any candidates? Now's the time to ask.
I have one for Nick. It's not really a question, but I would really like to hear the rest of your presentation. I know you kind of didn't have time at the end. If you could just highlight the main points that you wanted to say at the end.
Hey, Nick, we can't hear you.
I was just flexing my microphone and then it pooped on me. Hold on.
We can hear you now.
Okay, now am I good? Great.
Yes, sir.
Could I screen share again? Is that something I can do, Carlos?
I
can run through it a lot quicker than I was going to.
Sure, go for it.
Okay, great. My PowerPoint. Great. I was right here. No, I was one after. I was right here, I believe. But yeah, basically what I talked about La Casota. And one of the questions that Tony had asked me was the about more ideas I had. So that's kind of where I left off. The idea of the ¿Qué pasa for SHPE, it's sort of a survey, because I know a lot of what other candidates talked about was the need for analytics. And as secretary, that would probably be a super important thing to see and to analyze and to talk about. So it'd be a great way for people to talk about what they want to see, what they don't want to see, and anything relevant. We could manipulate it to ask any question. Obviously, it's an idea to talk about with everybody and what we need to see, but it would be a great place for a permanent site, maybe even on the SHPE website, as some people talked about earlier, where we could hear other people's ideas. The third idea I had that I talked about was here. Let me pull up the chat just so I can see it as well. But yeah, one of the other ideas that I was going to talk about was the Ideas Project Fair. I talked about it earlier as sort of a combination between the Boeing bottle rocket and the roller coaster in the engineering building. But basically, it was, just a really a great way for people like me who don't have a lot of technical experience to get it and to find a way to do it. I know that's specifically where I'm lacking. I would just, I want other people to be able to improve the way I want to. And really quickly, I was gonna force you guys to subscribe again with 1 million QR codes. And, I've got Nugget, Pegasus, Nitro, and this lady endorsing me. So please vote for me. Thank you guys a lot. Any questions, you can DM me on Slack. I don't want to take time from the other candidates or anything.
All right. Any other questions for any other candidates? Now is the time to ask.
So I have a question for Kevin. So as treasurer, you do have to make sure you're organizing and allocating money and prioritizing who gets money. How do you plan on choosing who would get this necessary amount of budget for their event or committee?
I guess that will have to go on a need basis kind of thing. Going back to what Jazz was saying earlier today, SHPE is both a social club and a professional club. So I do want to fund both. I want to prioritize conference more than anything, because I think it's a great opportunity for all of us. That's ultimately why we're here, to get offers, to get great jobs, and graduate with a great offer at the end. But I also want to have great events. We're coming back in person. And a big thing that we need to do in order to welcome more members is to have great events. If the budget, allows it, I will allocate money for that as well, because I believe, in work hard, play hard. I guess we're gonna work hard for conference as well. But coming spring, we're gonna have a lot of fundraising events that I want to plan with whoever the events director is for next year. And with those events, we're gonna make up for whatever money we spend, and the fall events as well. Hope that answers your question.
Yeah, it does.
Anyone has any questions for answer?
Yeah, I got, I guess, less of a question, more of a, I guess, like a statement or food for thought, so to speak. And I wanted to ask this along the way, but I figured this kind of applies to whoever gets the role or anything like that. In the tough times when you're trying to figure out, like, okay, which direction you want to go on things, I hope that maybe these words are going to echo in your mind when you're going through those tough times. One of them being, like, don't be afraid to try new things. I think we can take inspiration from the past. We should, and try to learn from that. but don't get stuck in old ways. Carlos, you did a great job with the organization this year, but that by no means is the only way to do a good job. There's many different paths that you can take, and I just want to make sure that whoever gets the role, you guys feel empowered to try new things and to be the best leaders that you can be. And I really think that if you can unlock that, it unlocks the potential in those around you. And that means, your team is more motivated to work. That means that the members get more value out of the organization. So I just wanted to say those words, and I just want to say best of luck to everybody. I know SHPE's going to be in good hands. I'm really happy to be part of the organization. I'm transitioning now to be not part of the organization, but definitely going to miss it. And I know you guys are going to kill it. So great job for even expressing interest. And I know you guys are going to do a great job. So take it easy. I'm going to get going though, but yeah.
Thanks, Kevin.
Yeah. Adding on to what Kevin said, I was listening to an audiobook, and everyone knows with great power comes great responsibility. But also the reverse is true, right? With great responsibility comes great power. And I think that was something that I was kind of reflecting on. And so all the people who are going to get appointed to the new roles are going to have a lot of responsibility and power. So just use it wisely.
Can I ask a question? So I guess for everyone running, can you give like a quick 30 seconds, 1 minute? Why do you think you would, why are you running for this specific position? And why do you think you would be best fit for this?
I can start if you want. So I'm running for this position mostly because we're in charge of conference, and like I said, I want to prioritize conference. I want to have the budget for it. I want to make sure that every member feels like money is not an issue to not go to conference. And now there's in person. It's more of a reason to want to go, experience the I guess hand-to-hand contact with all these companies. And also, following what you were saying earlier, this whole year I've been wanting to expand SHPE. Once I applied for events and for marketing, I always wanted to collab with more other clubs. And I feel like having, this collaboration with the other clubs this year can also, I guess alleviate the budget a little bit more, since we can, also share things like, transportation and, whatever might be the case. So I think I'll be a great candidate for this because I already have a lot of resources, a lot of networking within the school. And I just want to help, honestly. So that's it for me.
I guess I'll go next. So I actually wanted to run for internal. I already knew I wanted to run to internal VP, I want to say back in fall, because I knew it was like the next step, the next challenge for myself. To be part of this amazing organization, having that title of internal VP, I think was the best fit for myself. And like Kevin said, I want to help. He wants to help out. I want to help out. I think, being such a great organization that we are and helping each other, being that familia for each other is very important. And I think I can bring that to the organization, and, with the e-board, with the board of directors, or just SHPE members in general. I think we can work, and, transitioning into person is going to be a great way to show that we are still together, even though this past year we were virtually. But yeah.
I can go next. Could you repeat the question just to know for sure? Yeah.
Why are you running for this position? Why do you think you're best fit for it?
I think after being the SHPE team as co-director, that really, really established my love for SHPE, and like my desire to really help and improve in the areas where I thought it lacked. And I think those areas are super important because we are a minority. And I think for everybody, and as a minority, we need to be there for other minorities in solidarity and, have these conversations. That was my biggest thing, having conversations about diversity and inclusion more. And that's why I really want to do that. I want to give people that opportunity that we don't have as much. And I think before SHPE team as co-director, I think the only opportunities were the events where we collaborate with ODI, and those were once or twice a semester. And I feel like we should have more, but also I know somebody who's also in a leadership position in a different RSO, and we both noticed that leaders we don't know what leaders are bringing, or like we don't know what their knowledge is. Like assumption is the worst thing to have, or the worst thing to think of, real leaders. You can't always assume that they're the best people that have no bias. And I really want to make sure that the future SHPE members have leaders who don't have biases, or at least trying to understand and break down those biases. But yeah, because I think the SHPE members would really appreciate that, and I feel like we would have the important conversations by doing so. And I feel like I have that passion to do and initiate those goals that I have.
I can go real quick. So the reason I'm running for treasurer is to keep it in kind of like, financial terms for fun. I believe that the return on investment, or the ROI on this organization, has been net positive for all of us here, both e-board, board, even the members especially, right? So I think that just because we've been able to kind of grow and go through these hard times and challenges, it's really brought us closer together, even though we've been so far apart. And if you really start to think of it, SHPE's greatest asset as an organization are its members, right? Without the members, there is no SHPE. And not only that, it's without the quality of each member, every little, piece of advice or help or questions that each of the members bring, that all helps us improve. So I think that, I've really grown to love the organization. I definitely want to continue giving back to it, and just, meet new people, help new people, like understand what people are going through as well in their individual journeys. I'm always like interested in what makes that person tick, and I think that as treasurer, I'll be able to have a good connection with not just, the e-board, but also the board, and know what the members are going to be needing, right? Supply and demand. The reason I think I'm a good role, or a good fit for the role, is because, again, I think that a lot of it is just, for this role especially, it's a lot of behavior. It's a lot, being able to look out a few months ahead and be able to plan accordingly to things, have a vision for what you want the organization to benefit from. And I think that I've gotten really good. I was definitely not like made like this, right? Over the years, and especially with this past year, I've really gotten good at being able to look ahead and reverse engineer our way back to today, and then just take those steps forward. And, I also believe I'm a really good team member. So that will really just help us with whatever team that ends up being e-board, right? Make the best of each opportunity that we have.
Right, I can go next. So the question again was like, why you, what you want to do with the role, and why the role. And, personally, I've had such a great experience through SHPE. And to me, the best way to serve is through leadership, right? We talked about, with great power comes great responsibility. And a lot of people, tend to see leadership as like a pyramid with like e-board at the top, board members, when really, it should be flipped, right? The members are up top, the members are the priority. And that's how I felt on my way in. So I would love to take a chance to be able to serve back and bring back to everybody. And the way I can do that is through the secretary position, because I can bring the skills that I have to the table. I just, because of my experience with SHPE, and especially in SHPTube, having, been given a chance to shine with no concrete qualifications, is why I want to run. And it's what gives me the passion. And that's why I think I'd be a great secretary.
So yeah, I guess I can go next after I'll follow Nick here. It's gonna be a tough one, but I guess as far as like, why I wanted to run for the role and why I think I'd be a good fit. So 2 years ago, my freshman year, I joined SHPE, and I kind of joined because someone had approached me and said, "Hey, you should join SHPE. You know, you're an engineer, check it out. I joined and it was definitely not what I thought it was, but it was definitely for the better, you know. I realized that, you know, college, or I guess more specifically engineering, isn't just getting your degree and getting a job right after. You know, there's a lot more work that goes into it. But and SHPE has showed me that, and it's given me an opportunity to grow. You know, things like working on a resume, LinkedIn, you know, all these things, interview help, all this stuff that in the back of my mind wouldn't have to deal with for years, right? But they helped me prepare. And that is something I want to give back to you guys, you know? So this year I joined the board as the events director. That was my way of giving back. And I've learned so much. This role this year has been so fulfilling to me that I'm not ready to just walk away from it yet. You know, I want to keep going. I want to keep giving back to you guys, giving back to this community. So that's why I decided to run for secretary. And I feel that, you know, with the experience I've gained, you know, for my freshman year, as well as being on the board this year, and the knowledge I've had, and, you know, just all these skills I've acquired throughout my lifetime, but especially, you know, being a board member is why I feel like I'm the best fit, you know, for secretary.
So I think that's everyone.
Except for
But
me.
Hey, no te
oh,
jodas.
Freddie.
Feo, ¿ah?
Yeah, you forgot about me, bro.
Qué asco, bro. Malísimo.
All right, so I'll start off answering the first question. So some of you may know it wasn't my, I guess, first, like it wasn't my plan to run for executive board or for external this year. But after, yeah, stop laughing, Tony. All right. So after, I guess this the issue was presented to me, I kind of thought about it, and I think one of the things that really won me over, especially for e-board, is and like our board, is that I was kind of like worried that I wouldn't have time to do stuff that, you know, I felt like in virtually I lost so many things that when I got to UCF I felt like I just want to do everything. But then after like evaluating like the stuff that and realistically I was gonna do, and also keeping in consideration how I know that the board is very, I guess, time acknowledgeable. I don't know if that's a thing, but like they understand that if we have things other than like life isn't just strictly SHPE. So that's the thing that won me over, and that's why I'm running. And so why do I think I'm a good candidate? Well, on top of like having a history even into high school with SHPE, and like I owe a lot of my professional achievements because of SHPE, and more importantly because of the people I've met in SHPE. So I feel like with my history, I have a passion for this thing or for this organization. So I have the passion. I also have experience in the e-board, and I was also like a really involved member my freshman year. So I really understand how it is to what members feel and what they go through and what they're thinking. So yeah, I guess having that background for e-board is also pretty important too. But yeah, I would say the other thing more related to external vice president is that I know like for networking, I feel like at least for where I stand compared to like other, I don't want to compare myself, but like compared to like other people, I feel like I've networked and participated in things a lot more than others have. So I think like I'll be a really good candidate, or not a candidate, but like a person that we be able to reach out to I guess sponsors and stuff like that. And I guess to kind of throw out a note, there's one of my goals that I had set this year was to meet like 10 software engineers because I'm computer science. I'm gonna be meeting 2. So I feel like that, like I already had that existing goal before I even ran. So like I feel like that goal is, I don't know, I feel like this position is also gonna help me with my goals. So on top of like wanting to bro, Tony, why are you spamming me, bro? You guys can't see it, but he's spamming me with private chats. So I think that goal will also like help me with this, or I think they'll both be like a good synergy. I don't know. That's the thing.
Jazz, do you want to answer your own question?
So why did I run and why this position? Why did I run? Well, I think I was actually under Freddie's same thing. I didn't really see myself. I thought I was done. But once they kind of put the idea in my head, and it was more so the route of, will I regret not doing it and knowing the capacity that I was able to do? Would I regret it? And I really like reflected on it and realized, I would reject or I would be like disappointed in myself that I didn't even take the opportunity to do it. And I think just in general, I feel like SHPE has just given so much to me, and I really like throughout different, we all take those personality exams or all of those little things. In all of them, I've learned that I am a servant leader. And so really giving back and seeing the impact that I do to others is how I believe that I, move forward and feel like I'm making an impact. And so being able to take that next level and really see what I can do with SHPE, I think is, I don't know, I guess it's something that I'm just excited to see, and I'm excited for the opportunity that SHPE already has and the different things that we could possibly create from it. And it's also, I always know that SHPE always has this great group board members, and so continuing through SHPE is, I guess, just something that I really just want to continue with and don't regret not finishing that path that I guess I was upon. I don't know. But yeah.
All right, so that does conclude our event for today. Again, the recordings will be posted on our YouTube channel. So as Nick mentioned, if you're not yet subscribed, be sure to subscribe. To anyone on the call, still on the call, thank you guys for coming out and hearing the candidates talk. To all the candidates, you guys are great. Remember, campaign season is open. You guys can campaign up until April 21st. So use that time wisely. Do campaign as you see fit. And I'm excited to see what you guys put out.
I just want to say great job to everybody. I'm excited to see next year's e-board. I think you guys all did an amazing job, and I'm very excited. So thank you all for presenting.
Thank you guys for coming and showing support. We appreciate it.